How's it going? My name is Stephen Costigan, and today I'm going to be talking about the importance of education. So in 1755, Philip Faneux gave a speech at St. Thomas's in London about the importance of education. In that speech, which was a long sermon, he emphasized the importance for parents to teach their children and to ensure that their children received a proper education. This is furthered on by John Nixon in 2012, who suggested that education was required for helping citizens to do their part in society. So, going back old school to the scriptures, in Luke chapter 2, starting in verse 40, we learn that Jesus Christ waxed strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. So, following that verse, starting in verse 42, we learn that at the age of 12, he was taken to the temple as was custom, and that he was teaching the people in the temple, following with that verse. And so we learn from that verse that he had gone up and he spent 3 days teaching in the temple. What we don't learn from that verse is that this part of this was customary. It was customary for children to be taught at home until roughly the age of about 6, and then to be taught in classes to read and write and understand the scriptures till the age of about 12. What they don't teach you there is that um, at the age of 12, they're presented at the temple to be quizzed and tested to make sure that they received the education they needed. And so when Christ was presented, they were initially taking him to make sure he had received the education he required. And what they weren't expecting was the depth and the understanding that he had. So after 3 days in the temple, which probably could have been more, seeing as his parents interrupted it, he was being quizzed, but also giving them deep and profound answers that they didn't expect from a 12-year-old. And so, bringing that back to modern times, and I guess the importance of education, we understand that not only was Christ educated and educated to a great degree, but he understood a lot more than was necessary. And so we looked at the United States, which is the country we live in, and the literacy rates was something that I took a great interest in for this speech. So in a 2018 study, Burton revealed that the United States holds a 86% literacy rate, and in a list of countries comes 125 out of 197 in the entire world. So the, you can see that this is a significant issue. There are some countries in the world, such as Finland, Norway, and a few others, where they hold a 100% literacy rate. Um, and there's about 26 countries in the world with a 100% literacy rate. And so my speech, not my paper, my speech will address how that can be achieved, how that can be increased, and the literacy rates in the United States in general, and ways to improve it. So to conclude, when I give my final speech, I'll conclude over the discussion points and the things that need to be discussed to increase that literacy rate. To again reiterate the importance of education, that just as Christ was our exemplar in his life, that his level of understanding and depth of education should be an example to us, that we must always press ourselves to learn and uh, to expand our understanding of the world around us, um, and that while the literacy rates in the US are an ongoing issue, they need serious attention, and that going back to what was said by Fanux and by Nixon, that it's important for parents to encourage their children to seek an education, and to help them to be more productive members of society. Thank you.